They told us to watch the barley. They told us it was the sign of Yah's timing. But what if the barley isn't what we think it is? What if the grain guiding the feast days was genetically altered? Every year, inspectors head into the Israeli countryside looking for Aviv barley, the nearly ripe crop that supposedly tells us when the biblical years begins. But is that even true? But no one is asking the most important question. Israel scientists have been altering wheat and barley for decades. Not just for nutrition, but for speed. For the fastest growth. The earliest harvest. This is not even biblical barley. This is biotechnology. You see, there's something else they didn't tell you. Scripture never commands us to use barley to time the calendar. It's just not there. Leviticus 23 says, "You shall count from the morrow after the Sabbath, 50 days. But is this some anomaly that we have to recount every year? Or did Moses count it once and for all? The answer is simple. Moses already did the counting, and he knew what month he was in, because he wrote so. And this is a fixed date, even on Sinai, on the third month, according to Exodus 19. Read it. And first fruits is Aviv 26, count 50 days later, and that puts us at the 15th day of the third month. They would call the Babylonian name of Sivan, which is not really a biblical month, but a Babylonian one. And moving that into the second month is simply ridiculous, especially when Moses wrote, he went up to the mountain in the third month, not the second. That's a fairly simple concept. Frankly speaking, this is how they manipulate and change the biblical calendar, deceiving us goyim. Classic Pharisee tactics indeed. Even viewed as simple historical affirmation, the book of Jubilees and Qumran scroll calendars affirm Moses in Exodus. This is in the third Hebrew month on the 15th day. The result? Modern Pharisees fail. Shavuot is always on the third Hebrew month on the 15th day, and it never moves. Also, Sabbaths don't move. They're always on Saturday. And the calendar doesn't float. 364 days is 7 times 52 weeks. Pretty simple. And that is the biblical basis. See, these things are not supposed to change. They don't ebb and flow. If Passover is on Tuesday this year, it's on Tuesday next year. It's on Tuesday the year after. It's on Tuesday the year after that. The feast cannot be manipulated. Now, that begs the question, who would want to manipulate the feasts? Folks, the barley is not the calendar. Watch the restoration of Shavuot. It's an awesome video. Barley changes every year in what could float over a 3-month period, not even just 1 month. It's not just off by days, nor even weeks, but by months in many years. And that's just simply ludicrous. It's an unbiblical measure, never mentioned as such. It's just not there. I know they'll say, oh, but it's in Ruth, but Ruth doesn't say Shavuot, does it? It's just talking about a harvest. This is the amazing thing. They're manipulating Scripture to try to force something. And the question is, why? Why would they want to change the calendar? You know why? Read Daniel. Who changes the calendar? It is the beast system. As if Yahuwah did not know that barley would grow earlier some years and later others, and certainly not foresee that Israel would modify it to mature earlier even, which scientific studies have affirmed over and over again. Look at the description box. We'll put some links in there for you. The biblical feast never followed such ignorance. When you base Yah's calendar on unstable, engineered grain, you make his timing dependent on man's manipulation. And that is the point. That's not biblical obedience. We all know this. What it is agricultural guesswork, and extremely poor as a measure. Think about it. Did you know ancient barley, the scientific variety in ancient Israel, is not even used in modern harvests? They've modified it, and they've modified it specifically to mature faster. Which means if used as a measure, and not all Israel does, by the way, if used as a measure, it changes the calendar, is what it does. Even Omer, mentioned by many in Israel, is actually a hybrid, not the original grain. Israeli fields are planted with barley optimized for fodder, not feasts. Understand that. In the Qumran community, they didn't rely on barley to set the calendar at all. They had an elaborate fixed priestly calendar, and we found years of it in Qumran. It's really not a question. It's time to stop trusting in altered signs and start trusting in the preserved calendar of the actual Bible observance. Yah's appointed times were never left to chance or to the likes of Monsanto. No, thank you. They were fixed from the beginning. Thank you for watching, and Yah bless to everyone.